Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to Path of Exile. Guys, it's been a while since I've done some streaming. It's been a few days. I've been cooking on the Blood Mage. I've got myself to level 67 and I am currently on the interlude. I'm about to finish the last map and I've got a bit of fun going with the Blood Mage. It's been a tricky one, this, because we're working on emergency reload. I'll go through the build and what we're doing with this. But I'd like to show you the gameplay and then go into the build, because I think some of you guys watching this as a VOD would like to know where we're going with this. I have made some changes recently to the gameplay, which has been quite fun. Oh, let's get my grenade up. We've got a lot of crowd control and slow going, which is nice, and a lot of AoE. Emergency reload is the main key that I've been trying to work around, and I've got some nice boss kills, nice good clearing, quite fast. This is level 63. I am level 67, so I am a little bit overtuned on this, but when we do maps we can start getting a bit more of a balance going on damage. As you can see, it is looking a little bit better. I'm a little bit weak. The changes I made to my armor have reduced my life. I need to sort that out. I want to find a boss to kill, or somebody that is a little bit tougher to kill, so I can show you my my damage. Got a lot of crowd control in terms of speed, but there's a lot of AoE going as well, and none of these. I do have the plasma blast. I've got in. I have the plasma blast for the boss, and it is insane. And I mixed it with the HailStorm, so I can slow everybody down. It is very nice, and it feels quite strong. This, as I say, defensive-wise, there's a little bit of defensive that I need to bring into this to make it a bit better. Can I hit you? You're dead. So which has died? Oh, she's down. And we've got all sorts of shit going off now. Right, his armor's broken. Perfect. Now all I need to do is making a bit of a hash of this. Here we go. I missed him. Oh, I missed him. There we go. Still bleeding. Still bleeding. See if I can hit him with this. There we go. I'll get him. Down. Changes I've made for this build. Let's go through the loadout and the skills, because it's kind of complicated. This I've gone quite crazy with it, and there's a lot going on here, as you can see. I'll start with the emergency reload. I've got increased cooldown recovery rate. I've got skill effect duration for longer duration, longer buff. I've got cost down. I don't really need a fifth in this. There's nothing I can put in at the moment, but that is down to level 15, quality 20, and it is down to recovery rate or plus 10 on the quality. It's a cooldown 45 seconds, and I've managed to get it down to a whopping 16.36 seconds, which is pretty rapid, and I could possibly do a little bit better at the cost of damage, while I'll not do on my passive tree, which I'll go through in a little bit, but I do have a cooldown here that I could go to, which is like 10 plus 50, 5 and 5, so there's 20% there. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. Anyway, the emergency reload is kind of stacked. This is what the build is focused on. I rolled a build, and that's what came out. So do a build with emergency reload with a crossbow on the Blood Mage, and that was it. So in order to maximize on the emergency reload, there is HailStorm is probably the most effective skill for this, because I can reload the bolts that I have for this. Now the bolts that I need I can load is 27 with the HailStorm round, so I can knock out all 27 at once, and then I can reload another 27 at once. Now I'm using the HailStorm rounds to slow and freeze. I've got chill when I freeze, using the chill ground. I've got deep freeze, I've got freeze, and then I've got cold attunement, and I've done efficiency too because it's a very expensive skill, and my skills, because I'm a blood mage, cost life and mana, and it was doing a little bit too much at the cost because I haven't stacked those up yet. So the HailStorm round is the main thing about that is to freeze them in place. So then mainly bosses this, so that I can use the plasma blast and get a nice shot off the plasma blast and destroy. I've got bleed on the plasma blast, so I do a nice juicy bleed, which is, what's that? It's 10,000 to 31,000 bleed damage at the moment. I'm level like 67. We've got deep cuts for more bleed. I've got elemental ornaments for more elemental damage. Bear in mind that our bleed is bolstered by lightning damage, because it is also because of blood mage we get that attunement where elemental damage contributes to the bleed. And we've gone for lightning attunement for 25% increased damage, less cold and less fire, but we haven't really got cold and fire on this, so that is kind of what I've got at the moment on that. So that's for bosses. Explosive shot is my AoE killing machine, right? So with this, I've got the Hammer crystals, which anyone that bleed, it pops them and then they do an AoE damage. I've got poison 3, so chance to poison, magnitude to poison. I've got corrosion for armor, so I do armor break, so I can hit harder with my physical damage and do more poison. I've got armor explosion for why not, a little bit of extra explosions on breaking armor. And then I've got the Uric smelting, which fully breaking armor with supported skills cause affected targets to permanently take 2% increased physical damage up to 20%, supports breaking 70% more armor. So this is my armor breaking one with poison, and allows for heavier, once the armor broken, heavier shots with my bleed. Now my bleed is actually generated from the oil grenade. Don't know why, but for some reason this works. So we use bleed 3. I haven't got a heavy hit with bleed on this, but for AoE it works fine. We do 315 hit with that, but it scales with the fire damage. I don't know, something weird works here, and then it just pops off nicely. More skill duration, sorry, not more skill duration. Nova projectiles, so we can do a little AoE. We got reduced, the short fuse for reduced detonation time, magnifying area. So I just want to spray everybody with the oil, because the oil also gives them exposure to resistances, elemental exposure. You can see applies exposure, total resistance minus 20%. So I'm knocking their resistances down with this as well, which means in conjunction with overwhelming presence, which I've got at the moment, elemental threshold was reduced on enemies as well as the armor, or the stun, sorry. And then I'm using blasphemy as well for curse, knocking resistances down yet again, and temporal change for slow. Oil grenade does a slow. It does slows enemies by 30%. I've got the temporal chains for curse of slow. Oh, I don't know if that doubles up actually. That's interesting. I might be wasting my slows there. And then I've got magnified area in the blasphemy for bigger area, obviously. Mana remnants, because I need mana at the moment. Mana's a problem. And then I'm using Herald of Blood, so I've got, again, bleed on this, so that I kind of plot bleed on bleed. Execute, magnified, and brutality, because it's just a physical based skill. No elementals on that. I've got blink because of my shroud, which I've mentioned, and then I've got life remnants because I'm a blood mage, which gives me more mana, I suppose. No more mana, more health ways to do that. Anyway, that's the skill set. That's all the loadout. And then on my armor and my gear, so I picked up the Alpha's Howl armored cap because of the presence radius. So my radius of my debuffs and my curses are kind of all linked into that. Then I get the 100 spirit, which is very welcome. I am evasion. I have my. By the way, I just want to say very quickly, I don't know whether I'm going armor, evasion rating, or life, or energy shield. Energy shield not at the moment, obviously, because I'm only 39. But I'm not sure where I'm going with this. And because I've got too many uniques in, it's kind of like I need to work on this run game. So there's something to be said here. Whether I push up strength more for more life, which kind of goes with the blood mage, I don't know. Anyway, at the moment, I'm using the Shrouded Vest. The blink is okay. I do find it a little bit clunky with sprint, But I've chosen this because the increased cooldown recovery rate. If I take that off, my emergency reload goes down to 18.83, so it's only 2 seconds. So really, in the grand scheme of things, I could possibly not use this chest piece. Now, the chest piece that I will be considering on using when I get a little bit higher up in the levels will be this one over here. Let's have a quick look. It is the Coming Calamity Heroic Army, level 78. I can use this. Gives me Herald of Ash, Ice and Thunder, which I haven't got at the moment, which will work really nicely on this build. We've got elemental resistances, and enemies in your presence have no elemental resistances, which I think is massive. And I get elemental resistances, which are really helpful for me. So I think this is going to be a really good switcheroo for this one. And then obviously with the presence increase from the Alpha's Cal, I think that worked really well. So I think they used that one and that one will work. The Coming Calamity will work nicely when I get a bit more leveled up. I'm using the Playfingers. Playfingers I used on I use it a lot on my bash builds when I was doing bash because of the all damage from hits contributes to poison magnitude. I kind of feel like it's a good way of just like making sure that poison goes all the way through their armor, and it makes them the armor dissipate, and so they had no armor and therefore my hits are hard. I've got a feeling though that as I go into endgame I'll have to come off this. And then I've got the cooldown buff from one of the things in the interlude. I've got cooldown reduction in a ruby which I in a ruby ring which I picked up on the auction house or traded, and then this ring here is purely for what is this thing? This ring needs replacing. That is actually a really shitty ring. It's level 20. That's my next thing. Maybe this stream we can look at replacing that. It's probably got, what's that, physical to mana regeneration 12%. I mean, it's really rubbish. I've probably got something better in there I can probably find. In fact, chaos resistance, we can probably change that right now. We'll just finish off the build first. Main crossbow at the moment is this one here, which is quite nice. 137 to 438 physical damage. And fire, the only thing bad on that is probably fire. It's tier 10 fire. The rest of it is pretty solid. So a decent crafted that I've done crossbow. On the back bar of my grenades, I've got 106 increased grenade damage and 20% increased grenade duration, plus a bit of leeching on that. Another one that I crafted, which is okay for the grenades. I've got spirit on my amulet, which is quite good, and then my belt is just for resistances really to try and get that up. I've got a little bit of plenty of scope to go forward on this. My tree, Jesus Christ, there's so much in this game to go through. My tree starts here and I work my way up and over to this jewel here. These are for the empowered, which is going to be my slow burn into endgame with the extra damage on the empowered and emergency reload. I'm only using emergency reload for reloading at the moment. Once I bring empowered into it, it's going to add a lot more damage into those attacks. I've come down across here, this jewel, and then these Bestial Rage. This is Feral Force. These are just basic attack damage. Battle Fever, more damage on my crossbow. Again, the same here, damage, more damage. This side, more damage, but also we've got the magnitude of ailments we inflict, so the poison and the bleed is really good, and the elemental ailments, that's pretty solid. And then we work our way all the way across here. Now we're going to mix the bleeding cooldown. So I've got bloodletting for increased magnitude of bleeding you inflict. Straight down the line in the middle, and we've got cooldown and more cooldown, and then I'm working my way to this little lovely bleeding out. Bleed you inflict deals 10% faster. We've got that now. That's going to do a lot more damage for me, and I can either go down this run here for more damage. We've got a 40% two-handed weapons there, which is really good, or I can start now pushing into the empowered. However, I need a bit more defensive, so I'm going to consider where I'm going to go with this on the stream. But that is where we're at the moment on this build. It kind of feels nice. I'd love to see where we're at with maps, and we're going to find out and just see how it goes. I've got a feeling we may have to build a bit more defensively into it. Anyway, there we go. That's the monologue over, guys.
Bloody wheel.
Bloody wheel. You know, I've enjoyed this build actually.
Yeah, it's come along good, man. Another one, I was like, oh yeah, take on this one. Oh, I hate this guy.
He's fine. You got him. Get him frozen. He's gonna go down.
Bell, come on.
One more.
Oh, I saw it, dude. See that? Holy crap! One shot. Look at that.
Whee!
That was. See that health bar? Man?
Yeah, just absolutely like it starts off like quite high, and all of a sudden it's like bang, bang, bang. Mind you, it's still not as good as the Bell build. The Bell, but it's so much, so good.